In our last video, we had a taste of the amazing Aqua Cura and resolved one way or another the situation with Griffin. Now we can head to the Rockland car tunnel to meet up with Paladin Tristan. Along the way, I dropped off some pre-war books with Scribe Yearling at the Arlington Library, but as I was leaving, I got attacked by Talon Company from the nearby ruins. After we clear it, the Enclave arrives. Why were the Enclave bombing Talon Company? Do they consider the mercs to be a threat? We explored this little Talon Company camp in my video on the Arlington Library, which you can watch here. But one thing we didn't see at that time is just around the corner. Lying in the middle of the street is a distinctive yellow Aqua Pura barrel. Oh no. Did the Brotherhood or Rivet City accidentally drop this here? Well, we should let someone know so they can come get it.
No more games!
But just then... It's a trap!
Just getting warmed up!
A bit too warmed up, Fox. Talon Company ambush us from the ruins. Talon Company is using Aqua Pura to waylay travelers? Well, we don't really have time to deal with this. Paladin Tristan is waiting for us. But then, as I traveled up the road past the Nuka-Cola plant, I saw fighting off in the distance between raiders and Talon Company. After the dust settles, we see what the fight was all about. Off to the side of the road is another packaged barrel of Aqua Pura. Talon Company and the raiders were fighting over it. Was this just coincidence, or is it all part of Talon Company's greater scheme? I wanted to learn more about it, and so I traveled to one of the known Talon Company camps, right outside the Capitol building in Seward Square. But upon arrival... Oh, the Enclave bombed the Talon Company camp, but it looks like they missed. We see them still moving around in their fortification, so we can take them out. Heading forward, we can loot the corpses of Talon Company. Then on the other side of the sandbag barricade, we can loot some scrap, a first aid kit, an ammo canister on a shelf with some darts on the top, and on a shelf to the northeast, we find a bunch of railway spikes and frag mines. Then turning around, we can loot another ammo canister and first aid kit, and then we find a holotape. Talon Company Merc Log number 1.
It's been confirmed. The purifier has been activated. We've been ordered to fortify our current position and wait for orders. With a lull in the fighting, we set up and fortified our position outside the Capitol building near Seward Square. Things have been relatively quiet around here lately. That'll all change when word spreads of the purifier. Anyone and everyone will do whatever they can to get their hands on some of that water. For life or profit, it makes no difference. Same old killing, just a different ingredient.
So Talon Company is trying to get their hands on the water. The raiders are disorganized and scattered all over the wasteland. I think the Brotherhood can defend pretty well against them, but against organized mercenaries with high-tech weaponry? Aside from the Enclave, Talon Company is really the last force keeping the people of the Capitol Wasteland from getting free, pure water. Before we do anything else, we have got to get rid of Talon Company. And to do that, we need to head to their headquarters at Fort Bannister. We've seen this place before, but we've never taken a pit stop. It was too well fortified, too many Talon Company mercs. But as we approach this time, we see some Brotherhood soldiers in power armor sneaking around outside. Talking with one of them,
Talon Company's been ambushing our water caravans. I guess they thought we wouldn't figure out who was doing it. As soon as Paladin Jensen gets back from scouting the base, we're gonna level the place. Kill every last one of those scumbag mercs.
Well, good luck with that.
Yeah, whatever.
On second thought.
Talon Company's gonna be sorry they messed with the Brotherhood. Now, what the hell is taking Jensen so long?
Why wait for Jensen? Let's go kick some Talon ass right now.
Guess this is my lucky day. You're on, pal. Alpha Squad, let's move out!
And with that, the Lone Wanderer and Alpha Squad race towards Fort Bannister and begin attacking Talon Company posted outside. Or we can say, I'll go look around, see if I can find Jensen.
Sure, but don't expect us to jump in and save you from those Talon boys. We move on our own schedule.
Yeah, fine. You just get in my way. So Jensen is in there scouting around. Why hasn't he come out yet? We see a number of Talon Company guards. Using our Gauss rifle, we can make quick work of them. Heading inside, we can loot the bodies. We don't see much more resistance. Turning to the right, we find one of the Talon Company guard posts. There's a first aid kit on a shelf, an ammo canister, and a sniper rifle on the top of it. But just then, we get attacked from the ground.
Time to die!
It's then we notice a staircase leading down to a door, but it's locked with a very hard lock. We'll come back to this in a minute. We see tents and commotion in the center of the ruins. Moving to the other side of a guard post, we can take out some Talon Company.
No more games! Time to die!
And we see a water caravan Brahmin. So they are taking the water. Heading up top this guard post, we can pick an average locked ammo box. And then back on the ground, we can move towards the center of camp. We see 2 Brahmin, and we can loot the corpses, one of which is a robo-brain. There's a bathtub filled with clean, pure water. Looks like they were keeping some for themselves. In the first tent to the right, we find a couple of footlockers, a small amount of caps in one. The second tent is empty. The third tent has a few mattresses. But in the fourth tent, we find Paladin Jensen.
Don't you realize by now you'll get nothing from me, you damn dirty merc? Wait a minute. Who are you? Hey, help me out of here. These Talon apes nabbed me while I was scouting the place.
I don't think so.
Fine. I'll just have to escape on my own. Don't worry, it won't take me long.
On second thought.
I could probably free myself in a few more minutes, but why don't you save me the trouble and just let me loose?
What are you doing here?
The Brotherhood is getting ready for a little payback. We're tired of Talon Company ambushing our water caravans. I was scouting their base when I was captured. All part of my plan, of course. Now that I've memorized all their guard positions and patrol routes, I just need to get out of here and report back to the rest of my squad. Come on, help me escape!
Okay, you're free. Now what?
Now I'm gonna go kick some Talon Company ass!
And with that, Paladin Jensen races off towards a final tent in the ruins of a building. We could let him die, or help him out.
Retreat! Fucking retreat!
And just then, Alpha Squad charges forward. They race into the tent, Paladin Jensen close behind, and open the sewer entrance to the commanding officer's quarters. We arrive in the sewers, and the Brotherhood races forward into a fight. Now, this is where they almost surely die. We run into a number of obstacles. First, the floor is mined with frag mines. Second, there's a ceiling-mounted Mark 7 machine gun turret. And finally, we find a Talon Company merc wielding a flamethrower. Now, I really wanted to save the lives of these reckless Brotherhood guys, because I like them, and also because I wanted to see what happened if they live. That meant reloading save after save, trying again and again to kill the enemies before the Brotherhood stumbled into their deaths. So instead of slowly going through this complex, exploring every corner, we're gonna race through as fast as we can, trying to stay one step ahead of the Brotherhood in order to kill all of the Talon Company so the Brotherhood doesn't die. This took about an hour of loading and reloading saves to memorize every single enemy and choose the appropriate strategy. First, upon entering the sewer, we use VATS to take out the machine gun turret and the guy with the flamer. Looting the mine slowed me down and kept me behind them, so I just hoped for the best. This time, I was lucky, and none of them died. Then, opening the door at the end of the hallway, we kill a merc who comes up the stairs, and a merc with a rocket launcher in a floating pod across the big chamber. Then a merc with an assault rifle that comes to his defense. Then, racing down the stairs, we quickly get rid of a machine gun turret. Then, trying to get ahead of this guy, we continue forward and down another flight of stairs, and then open a door to the right. This leads to a hallway and a barracks through a door to the right. We quickly kill all mercs in the barracks. Then, before the Brotherhood can get ahead of us, we go back to the hallway, through a door to the right, and then immediately left down some stairs. We arrive in a large room with catwalks above a flooded chamber filled with mercs. First, we take out 3. Then we take out a machine gun turret and a final merc. Then quickly, we pull out a fat man, race across the catwalk, and open the door to the west. Then, sprinting down a hallway, we pass a mess hall, go up a stairs, and you see I took my fat man out. That's because we have to quickly kill the boss of this place, who's at the top of the stairs in a room to the left. One shot. Then, machine gun turret. Then we quickly turn around, try to get behind the Brotherhood because they get flanked by more Talon Company who spawn behind them. Then, back in the boss room, we quickly jump down to the chamber below and kill a ceiling-mounted machine gun turret. And that's every enemy in this area. The Brotherhood all walk out safe. We'll see them again later. Now, to actually explore this place. On the ground, we found the severed legs of Commander Jabsco. Jabsco was the boss of Talon Company. And on his body, we found a finger, Jabsco's key, a unique weapon, Occam's razor, and a unique helmet, the Talon Company helmet. Occam's razor looks just like any other combat knife, but it deals 3 more damage. 10 compared to 7. That makes it on par in terms of damage with Stab Happy, which I covered in my video on the Bethesda ruins that you can watch here. However, Stab Happy has a critical chance multiplier of ×4 compared to Occam Razor's ×3, and critical damage of 15 compared to Occam Razor's 13. In that regard, it's slightly better. But both weapons do 30 DPS compared to a combat knife's 21. The Talon Combat Helmet is a one-of-a-kind item. No other Talon Company merc wears the helmet. The only novelty about this item is it does look like a unique helmet. However, standard combat helmets are better. This one has a DR of 4 and an item HP of 40, compared to a combat helmet's DR of 5 and item HP of 50. That makes it better than a Rivet City or 10-penny Guard helmet, but beaten by both a standard combat helmet and the Ranger Battle Helmet, which is the best combat helmet in the game. I covered that when I did my video on Riley's Rangers that you can watch here. Using Jabsco's key, we can unlock a box safe at the bottom of this room. Inside, we can walk away with a laser pistol, almost 100 bottle caps, and some energy cells. There's a first aid kit on a nearby wall, an ammo canister under a table, and a Nuka-Cola Quantum on a shelf by a footlocker. The footlocker has some electron charge packs and some chems. After looting a final ammunition box at the bottom of a shelf in this room, we can take the stairs up. The mini-nuke made quick work of the Mr. Gutsy and Jabsco, leaving not much else in this room to loot. On our way out, we see a turret control terminal. Didn't have time to hack that. And heading back to the top of the stairs, we find a door to the left, which leads to the Fort Bannister bunker, and a door to the north, locked with an average lock terminal. After hacking the terminal or picking the door, we arrive in a small chem closet. We find Jet and Buff out on the ground, 2 first aid kits, and 2 lockers with some darts inside. After looting 3 ammo canisters and a couple of boxes, we can head down the stairs to retrace our steps to explore everything we missed. At the bottom of the stairs, we can turn left into the mess hall. We find lots of cutlery, pots and pans and scrap, boxed food in the refrigerators, and a lunchbox on the tables. Heading out of the mess hall, we can follow the hallway into the large room with the floating pods above the water. All we find here are Talon Company bodies to loot. We can swim in the water, but all we get for our trouble is radiation. Heading out, we can climb the stairs. This leads us to the barracks. In the barracks, we find a bathroom in the wall to the east. Not much in the lockers, but in one of the toilets, we find a teddy bear. In the toilet water tank, taking some Psycho. We'll just take both of these. Drugs are bad, okay? Back out into the barracks, we find a whole bunch of ammunition boxes on a shelf, as well as some railway spikes. Next to this are 2 gun cabinets with a laser pistol and rifle. Turning around, we find another gun cabinet with another laser rifle and some ammunition in the lockers. Turning west, we see the bunks. There's a footlocker near one with electron charge packs inside, and some Psycho and Jet on the tables. Looks like these Talon Company aren't too different from raiders after all. Moving to the hallway, instead of going west back the way we came, we'll head north up the stairs. We passed right by this in our haste. At the top, we find a split, left or right. After looting a toolbox and a first aid kit, we get attacked by a merc. He must have been a doctor. The room he came from has a bunch of medical equipment. We find stretchers and trolleys, and a wastelander corpse on one stretcher. God knows what he was doing to it. We find chems on a table next to a chemistry set, and beneath it we find an easy locked floor safe with bottle caps and a stealth boy inside. We find another stretcher to the east with another corpse lying on it, this of a competing mercenary. Looks like they don't like the idea of competition. Heading out of the clinic, we can cross the hall to a generator room, but it's empty. So, heading back down the stairs, we can finally retrace our steps back to the series of floating pods. We can turn right to take the stairs down to the bottom, but we don't find anything here. Heading back up, we can look up, and we see that this was a pre-war missile silo. But the missile is gone. Looks like pre-war America managed to shoot it before the bombs dropped. In the pod floating above, we find a first aid box on a shelf next to a toolbox. And after looting a Talon Company corpse, we can turn right to loot an ammo canister and some frag mines on a windowsill before leaving the pod. Now here, if we look over the side, we see something lying on top of the floating pod beneath. Jumping down, we find a sandbag barricade next to a ham radio and a copy of Nikola Tesla and Jew with an ammo canister. Back to the staircase, we can take it up to the final floating pod and turn left to return to the sewers. Here we can loot the final corpses and any frag mines that we missed. This leads us back to the sewer grate where we entered, and it leaves us with one path forward. Retracing our steps back all the way towards the room where we killed Jabsco, we can open the door to the west to enter the Fort Bannister bunker. On the other side, we see an open door to the left and a closed door to the right. Stepping forward. Uh-oh. Hey! Oh, it was a pressure plate connected to a shotgun. And there's another trap to the left. Well, I triggered one, but I'm not going to do the same with the other. We can disarm the rigged shotgun and then disarm the pressure plate. Now we can go left or right. Let's go through the door the Talon Company came through first. We arrive in a small room with a divider in the middle of it. There's a gun cabinet to the right with an assault rifle and ammunition inside. And on the eastern side of the divider is an empty locker. So continuing north up the stairs, And then right next to him is a ceiling-mounted turret. In the nook beneath the turret, we find a number of empty containers. There's a stack of bottle caps in one of the lockers. And then moving beyond this to the west, we find another nook with scrap and even more empty containers. But then another merc. We see a staircase to the south and a door behind us. Going through the door first, we find a bathroom. Nothing much in here but a Braxo cleaner on a sink. Gotta keep those hands clean. So turning around, we can go north. We see a turret control terminal that we could have activated, but as the turret is dead, we'll continue up the stairs into the east. We arrive in a large room filled with machinery. To the right, we see a staircase going up, but if we move east, we find another door on the other side of the machinery. This leads to a hallway, and rounding the corner,
There you are. I want this one's head.
one more. Immediately to the left, we find another locker room with 10mm rounds and darts in the lockers. Then back out into the hallway. We can follow it until it turns north to a closed door. Aha! And Fort Bannister does not disappoint. These Talon mercs are everywhere. Looks like this was a bit of a makeshift workshop, but all the containers are empty. We do find some sensor modules in one box and some railway spikes on a shelf. Here we can go through a western door and down some stairs. This rounds a corner through an open door, and we arrive back at the pressure plate room, the room where we entered. So we've done a big loop. We now need to retrace our steps, kill one more merc, where he was hiding. We already explored everything. Back to the room with all the machinery. Now we can head up the... Oh, hello. Looks like we've got a tripwire. Let's see. Can't target it. How do I snip this thing? We'll nudge just a bit closer. Uh-oh. Wait, where's the grenade? Oh, there it is. Ow! Okay, it didn't even fall to the ground. It rolled along a girder, but the explosion detonated a bunch of frag mines on the stairs. Well, with the trap detonated, we can head up the steps and use the key we got on Jabsco's body to open a door to the wasteland. This leads us to that locked door and staircase that we saw near to the guard tower when we first arrived. And it's night. Heading towards the middle of camp, we find our saved Brotherhood of Steel. Hey, it's good to see them all alive and well. But where's Jensen? Moving north. Oh, there he is. Oh, wait!
Eyes on, people.
He got attacked by some Talon Company dogs, but we saved him.
Now that's what I call a good day's work.
A good day's work indeed. Moving north down the hill, we see the exit to the missile silo in the shell of this ruined building. So this building must have been destroyed when they launched a nuke. Hope there weren't any workers in here at that time. Moving to the west, we find another door. It's locked with a very easy lock. This leads to Fort Bannister, Maine. Inside, we get attacked from the left.
Put this one's head on a...
They just kept coming. Well, now they're dead. The hall continues west and lets out into a large vaulted room. Here we can kill more mercs. On this level, we find a bathroom to the right, but it's empty. Moving west, we see some tracks and a turret. Next to the tracks is a staircase leading down to a storage level. And wow, this is a tall area, but most of these boxes are just for show. The most I found was some 10 mil ammo in one and darts in another. Back up to the tracks level, we can follow the tracks. They lead to a storage shelf where we find a lunchbox, and passing a door, we see a dumpster covered in human skeletons. Were these mercs that misbehaved, or more wastelanders they captured for their nefarious purposes? Here we find a very easy locked door back outside of the capital wasteland. On the other side, we see that we're outside, it's still night, and we're on the southwestern side of the camp. Taking a look at our local map, there's where we went in, and here's where we came out. But we still have the stairs to explore, so back inside, we can hop on down to the level where we killed the merc when we first arrived in this room, and take the staircase up. Eventually we reach a floating pod. Creeping our way through it, we exit into a hallway. Turrets. We see some stairs to the west and a room to the east. Heading east first, we arrive in a bit of a workshop. We see terminals against the wall, but they're all busted. Moving east, we find darts in a box. And next to this, a wall safe, locked with an average lock. Inside, we find 2 stealth boys and a small amount of caps. There's a lot of scrap against the northern wall, and then on the northwestern wall is another wall safe. This one locked with an average lock. Inside, we find a more respectable stack of bottle caps. We see a bunch of computer terminals sitting around and some sort of rubbish pile in the middle, but we can't access it. Looks like it's a pit though. I wonder if we can find a way down. So turning around, we can head back to the hallway and take the staircase down. And at the end of the hallway, we find an average locked door. And this leads to the Talon Company Armory. We find a fat man and a mini nuke, a big book of science, an ammo box, a number of other small boxes and toolboxes, and another ammo box at the top of the shelf. Looks like there's a fusion generator in here, but it doesn't appear to be working. And that's it for the Fort Bannister main building. Heading back outside, we see the dawn is breaking. Good to see Fort Bannister in Brotherhood hands. Moving east, however, we pass by a heavily nuked area, and we see an Enclave camp.
Begin!
Moving forward, we find even more Enclave in a crater.
You! Now I'm alive!
After killing the Enclave, we can turn around and loot the Enclave chests. At this little camp, we walk away with missiles and a whole bunch of chems. And turning around, we find a terminal near to a chair with an Enclave officer we killed. Enclave Field Research, Terminal, Crater Camp, locked with an average lock. Field Operations Enclave, God bless America. Read first. Whoa, bit of a glitch here. It should read, Department of the Army, Research and Development, Field Operations Sector 76Z. Welcome. You have been chosen by our great president to explore and collect samples at the crater located in Sector 762. The provided armaments stationed with you have proven reliable during early testing. However, should any problems arise, you are recommended to power down the defense grid using this terminal. Thank you for your participation. In the next one, request main base connection, function disabled. And finally, we can power down the defense grid, but function is disabled. It's tempting to think that these options are disabled because we destroyed Raven Rock, but we find them disabled even if we came upon this research terminal before destroying Raven Rock, so I have no explanation. After looting the Enclave, we can inspect this crater. We see that next to the impact crater are deep, long channels, possibly where the missiles or bombs that made this crater first hit Earth and continued traveling before detonating at the crater's center. In the middle of the crater, we see a tipped-over military truck, and lying on the ground beneath it are alien power cells. So the pre-war American government must have known about the Zetans before the bombs dropped. If they were transporting alien power cells, perhaps they were transporting some other greater alien technology that the Chinese knew about, which is why they tried to destroy it. Or it could be that finding the truck here is incidental. After all, this crater is right next to Fort Bannister, which, as we just discovered, was a pre-war American nuclear missile silo. Perhaps the Chinese targeted it for that reason and that reason alone. In the rubble, we find an easy locked box safe with caps and money inside, and the nearby buildings have collapsed into the crater. We see concrete and rebar rubble cascading down the sides of the crater. We find a bit of furniture. In one desk, we find a Nuka-Cola, and then we see a bunch of barrels of nuclear waste. I'm thinking these must have been deposited in the crater after the bombs dropped, otherwise they would have been vaporized in the explosion. Then again, I suppose the same thing can be said for the truck. But who would have launched a truck filled with alien power cells into the middle of this crater? At any rate, we have fully explored Fort Bannister and cut off the head of Talon Company. I'm sure we'll still see them in the wasteland, but perhaps now they'll stop waylaying Aqua Pura caravans. With caravans finally made safe in the wasteland, we can at last make our way to the Rockland car tunnel to meet up with Paladin Tristan. Time to see exactly what the Brotherhood has in store for us. We'll cover that in my next episode. I publish many videos each and every week on my channel, so if you don't want to miss it, be sure to subscribe and to click that bell notification button. If you have and you still feel like you miss out on YouTube notifications, consider following me on Twitter at Oxhorn. I update Twitter manually with every new piece of content that I publish. I've got a brand new shirt in the shop. No dice. Celebrate your luck or lack thereof with this brand new design that comes on shirts in a wide array of sizes. You can find the design on other products as well, like smartphone cases, pillows, posters, mugs, stickers, prints, etc. So if interested, you can find a link to my shop in the description below, or you can click here. If you like what I do and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming a patron on Patreon or a member here on YouTube. But more than anything, I'm just so glad you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon with more brand new videos.